to see you, to meet you. Congratulations on everything.
Oh, thank
you. This is a wonderful thing that you're doing. This is a wonderful project that Blackish is putting on. It is about they're doing an animation special about the election.
Yep.
And you talk about, now Blackish is known for being right there in anything that's political, what's going on, and having its voice. Can you talk about, for this episode, what new do you think it has to add with the overall opinions of the 2020 election?
I think they took a really smart approach, in the first half hour, the live action episode, they deal with voter suppression, and they actually, put you in the POV of Junior, who's Dre's, oldest son, and actually take you through the process of somebody discovering that they've been purged from the voter rolls, and, some of the deep dives that some people take in order to try to figure out what's going on and has this been happening to other people. And so I think that's an important issue, probably one of the utmost important issues that's going on in the 2020 election, because, there are a lot of people that don't want you to vote and don't want people to vote. And so I think putting people in that POV and kind of seeing how important it is to actually be, you have to be diligent with this stuff. You have to check your status, constantly and try to figure out ways where you can kind of circumvent, a lot of the obstacles that have been put in people's place in order to prevent them from voting, so that you can make sure that your voice is heard. And then in the second episode, I think it was really smart for them to take a more animated approach. The show, the energy that a lot of the characters have on the show, definitely lend themselves for animation. I mean, they're so such big personalities and so funny. And, with that episode, the approach of it being just very much of like putting you in the perspective of somebody who is seeing somebody who is kind of corrupt, and they don't understand why they may be running for office, and it may be for reasons that are, ill-intentioned, and showing kind of what happens if somebody does step up and try to run for office themselves, and then also showing all the different hurdles that people have to face when they do run. The big money is kind of one of the biggest issues I think a lot of candidates face, and how that stuff can be really corrupting. And, I think it just does a great job of really also laying out that there are a lot of different races that are being run outside of the president. There are a lot of local things that are up for election as well that are just as important, sometimes if not more so. I mean, you see in the Breonna Taylor case how much influence the attorney general has had over that case, and he's an elected official as well. So just you can have an impact with your vote, and it's also just bigger than just the president.
Right. Now, can you talk, there was about 3 or so screenshots or images that were released. Can you talk a little bit about the animation style, what we could see?
Yeah, no, I think the biggest really goal, I think, with the animation style was just to try to, represent the characters kind of as, we normally see them. When people watch the show, you want to be able to tell, okay, that's Junior, that's Miles. Very much kind of a whimsical approach, but also approach that is rooted in reality. Like you see the living room, you see the kitchen, everything kind of looks like how it's supposed to look, Steven's Alito. And it was really just done in a way where we could have some heightened moments, like the scene with the eagle and, even like the crowd. I think it really gave us an opportunity to do things in animation that we wouldn't have been able to do live action, like have that big rally. When Dre's giving a speech and Stevens is giving a speech, like we couldn't have done that, and right now because of all the protocols that are in place for COVID. So, definitely it was very helpful and really fun. I think it's the first time Blackish has attempted an animated episode, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, what happens with it moving forward.
Right. Now, we also have some guest stars. It's going to be Stacey Abrams. She's lending her voice.
Yep.
Deuce Miro is also in it. What was it like to kind of incorporate them in their style as well?
Yeah, no, I mean, Deezus and Mero are some of the most real and raw and authentic voices, in the game right now. And they were so fun, and they brought such a great perspective to the show. Stacey Abrams obviously is, such a rising star in the political world, and it was such a great get for us to be able to spend a little bit of time with her, and to see her put her POV in the conversations that we were having in the episode, because she really breaks down the reasons why it's important for people to vote, and the reasons why it's important for people to vote in their local elections. To hear it from her herself in her animated form, I think it's just a really important thing that they were able to pull off.
Right. Now, overall, it seems like it kind of, I don't want to say hopeless, but it seems like there's a lot of things that's going on, especially with the voter suppression. And
Yep.
it feels like no matter if you do go and vote, your vote, you're not sure if it still counts. It matters.
Yeah.
What can you say, or what can we do to kind of still quill that voice that's inside of us?
Yeah, I mean, I could see in a macro sense of how, people do have that sense of kind of hopelessness and kind of why does it matter? But, like I said, it's deeper than just the presidential election. It's about your local elections too. And, a lot of these races are decided by, some cases less than 100 votes, sometimes less, there was some race recently that was literally decided by one vote. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you never know what situation that's going to be. And, personally, I would hate to see a situation like that and know that, if I would have been able to get my family out to the polls, that we could have like literally changed a conversation. And so, I just think it's important. And, luckily, I think with every younger generation that comes up, they get it kind of, I feel so like more so than a lot of people, and really get the urgency now because, climate change is such a big issue. And, it's good to have all these creative conversations, but it's like, what do you do if the world isn't here anymore in, 20, 30 years? So, a lot of important conversations to be had. And I think, your vote is just you putting out what you want to happen in the world, regardless if it happens or if it doesn't.
Right. And lastly, overall, what do you hope that people, when they watch this episode, and hopes that it's not something, that's kind of speaking to the choir, but what do people from the outside, what do you hope that they gain from this episode?
Man, biggest thing is I hope people, immediately go and, either register to vote if they're not already registered, or if they are, if they, hop online and check their registration status. I think that's one of the most important things. And, just understand like how big, the game is rigged, against you to get your voice out there and to kind of show you like how diligent you have to be in trying to make sure that your voice is heard. That's what I hope people get out of it.
Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Oh, no worries. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Appreciate you. All right. You have a good one.